many people are receiving procedural fairness letters for in their express entry in their CEC applications these days for non-accompanying spouse, for declaration of the work experience which have not been declared in the past, etc., etc. And after taking, I don't know how many consultations, I could affirm this single fact that if people decide to respond to the additional document request properly, and most importantly, if they're able to make a proactive submission during their post ITF phase, probably 90% of those problems are avoided. Let me give you a couple of live examples. So, if your spouse is residing inside Canada, or if your spouse is non accompanying in your permanent residency application, it's an issue, right? You have to satisfy on the balance of probabilities that the reasons are indeed genuine and that the reasons are really not stereotyped reasons like, you know, taking care of your parents, etc., etc., right? So those reasons have become so much talked about these days that IRCC probably does not take those reasons anymore seriously. Okay. So if you're able to make a proactive submission from day one, probably the chances of success becomes way higher. Client comes to me, majority of the clients that at least comes to me when they have already responded to the ADR, citing facts that really does not make much sense. Okay, now some of the clients have told me that, well, I wanted to be transparent, my representative wanted to be truthful, etc., etc., and that's why they have proactively mentioned that, well, my wife is not being included in the application so that my CLS gets higher and that I have the inclination to sponsor my wife going forward. That's exactly what a misrepresentation is, right? So you are basically trying to take an advantage of the system. You're trying to take an unfair advantage under the Immigration Refugee Protection Act of Canada. Once you respond to an additional document request with this kind of a fact, it becomes very, very difficult to rectify the situation or to introduce new facts and new evidence as a part of your procedural fairness letter response. If you have stated specifically that, I did not include my wife in my permanent residency application because my CRS would be way lower, and that you have received a procedural fairness letter, and now you are introducing new facts and new evidence, etc., IRCC, there is a very high probability that IRCC is going to consider that as misrepresentation because there is not a chronology of facts. That what you have stated previously and what you are stating now is drastically different, right? Same thing for the foreign work experience. If you have not declared your previous foreign, foreign work experience in your previous applications, study permit, PGWP, etc., is a problem. But if you have justified reasons for doing so, okay, then and if you're able to make a proactive submission regarding that in your post ITF phase or as a part of your ADR response, probably you are laying the foundation well. Even you do make whatever submissions you make, still probably you would receive a procedural fairness letter because this is how the administrative processes work. But even then, because you have laid the foundation well, the chances of success in those kind of PFLs get higher as compared to the fact that if you have stated something completely inaccurate in the previous submission. So all in all, consistency is the key. If you think that your file is not straightforward, okay, if you think that any of these issues are there in your application, maybe it's a good idea to come for a consultation at the very beginning for me to see where exactly the issue lies, and from my experience I will probably be able to tell you how to move ahead with the situation if or not. I could also be telling you that, well, the chances of success may not be very high, so better not to do it. All in all you want to avoid is to receive an unnecessary procedural fairness letter, unnecessary stress in the process. Okay, so if you think that your file is not straightforward, it has a bit of layers into it, maybe it's a good idea to come for a consultation, have a prolonged discussion for an hour, let us go together everything point by point and come to a conclusion, and then you can take the next step from there accordingly. Hope this helps. Bye.